How's it, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Happy Wednesday. Welcome Wednesday today. Welcome Wednesday today. And I'm going to hopefully have somebody join me pretty soon, Anya. So let's see if that happens pretty soon. Anyway, hope you're having a great week. How's your week going? It's can you believe it? It's getting to the end of June already. We are just about finished the first half of this year, which has been a year like no other year, right? I don't know of another year that we've had like this. So it's, everybody in the world, no matter where you are in the world on this planet, you've been affected by this. And it's really interesting to see people's comments of, coronavirus, where people don't even believe it's a threat, and they're just carrying on. And we've seen, in the United States, our numbers increase radically with COVID in the last week. We see, especially Florida, Arizona, Texas, and California even, the numbers increase. And I really think that what's happening is people are just thinking that they haven't got it now, so they're not going to get it, and they can just go out without masks. And they look at the doctors, Dr. Anthony Fauci, and they just say, well, he's just creating a story. But where there's been over 120,000 people dead in America because of coronavirus, and somebody just posted just a lot of hype. That's what somebody was sharing, just a lot of hype. I'm just looking at somebody who's supposed to jump on with me on the call here, and just a lot of hype, just a lot of hype, just media hype. You're going to tell those families of 120,000 people that it's just media hype who've lost somebody. They're hurting right now. You're just going to tell them there's a lot of hype. It's just media hype. It's because they just test more. They just tested more people. So that's why the numbers are increased, because they're testing more. Well, you want to test more, so limited in the spread of corona. I don't get it. How we can say, well, let's test less people. No, why would you want to do that? It's like a person who is become HIV positive but doesn't know it. And as long as he doesn't know it, then don't test them. Well, he's going to die if he doesn't get tested, okay, and get treated. So why would you limit testing? I mean, I can't even understand that thought process of it. And people saying it's just hype. It's just media hype. And go and tell that to 120,000 people in the United States have lost lives, families. If 120,000 people have died just in the United States, that means there's probably about 2 or 3 million people that's been affected, heartbroken because of dying. Now, on the one side of our family, we've got 3 people that have, had COVID-19. One of them, Fernando's brother, ended up in hospital, and because he couldn't breathe, and it's 2 weeks later. He's been out of the hospital 2 weeks, and briefly saw him this weekend in Mexico, and he is still battling to breathe. He can't walk far. He can't do a lot of things, and it's a miracle that he lived. But he's reasonably healthy. And there are people that are in their 30s dying. So there's no hype. Don't let anybody try and tell you there's hype in this. There's no hype in this. There's absolutely no hype in this. So I suppose I have a guest on here this morning. There he is. I'm going to add him. Hey. How's it, Edward? Can you hear me, Edward? Can you hear me, Edward? I can see you, and I've added you to the screen. Okay.
I can't hear you.
You cannot hear me? Let me see. My mic is not muted. My mic's on. Okay, and we can hear you.
I can hear you now. I had to take off the mic. The mic was not working properly.
Okay. You're a little bit soft.
Yeah, because I took the mic off. If I leave the mic off, I won't be able to hear you.
Okay, I'm seeing. But you can hear me now, right?
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen, just what I was talking about now, I'll introduce you right now. We're just talking about, this COVID-19 and people saying that it's just media hype. And I was saying that, well, go and try and tell that to 120,000 lives that have just been lost, their families. It's just hype. And they've lost, family members. 120,000, that's like a few million people's lives affected. 120,000, let's say people know at least 10 to 20 people, probably more than 100 people. You're talking about a few million people's lives have been affected by the 122,000 lives being lost. And there's no hype in this. And yes, we need to open things, but we need to wear masks, precautions, 6 feet apart. And, my one side of the family, there are 3 people that have been affected, and another side, there are another 3 affected of our families. So this is no hype, and I'm scared that America is going to go back. Look at it, love it, love your mask. Put it on for us. Let me see your mask. Really good one. I love it. I love it. So, well, let's talk about, first, let me introduce you. We have the doctor of insurance, Edward Dunn, phenomenal entrepreneur, incredible entrepreneur, employs people, owns his own company, and also is incredible husband, an incredible father, an incredible grandson as well. And he went down to see his grandmother down in El Paso, Texas, the same time when they had that big shooting. And he just told me that, he was going down. And when, of course, the shooting I heard and I knew he was there, the first thing I thought of was the doctor of insurance. Now, let me tell you something now that he has taught me a lot about insurance, just because who he is. That's not our job today. We're not going to be talking about that today. But Edward Dunn, say something to me, man. Oh, you're gone. Your camera's gone. There you go. Back. I can't hear you now. Now I can hear you.
So let me tell you this. The one thing that Facebook taught us a couple of years ago is the 7 degrees of separation, right?
Yeah.
There's 7 people that separates all of us. And so at this point, with 120,000 people's lives lost, if you haven't had someone near and dear to you or close to you, or someone that you knew that was either a victim of the coronavirus or had become sick, I would be shocked. And most people at least have heard or know of someone. I will tell you, just this morning on Facebook, I had to write my condolences out to another State Farm agent whose father was lost over the weekend to coronavirus. So anyone that says it's not real, all you got to do is look through the pages of Facebook and you'll see it. It's very real. It's very scary. And, unfortunately, when it first happened, when we started opening back up, I thought, man, I feel like it's a little early. I almost feel like there was a gun pointed at our head and the bullets coming straight at us, and we duck. And before the bullets pass, we raise back up and get hit by it. And that's kind of what I feel like we did with this whole shutdown. I think we should have stayed a little bit more responsible for a little longer. And I think that some of the loss of life that we're about to experience may go down. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but 26 states now are on the rise. And I know that's not why you asked me on here, but it's near and dear to me because, again, someone I know very close lost his dad. So it's real, Kurt.
Well. Let's talk a little bit about this. While we're talking about this, so, I mean, what do you think? What if your governor called you today and said, Edward, give me some advice? Give me some advice. What do you think I should do with the state? What would you tell him?
Well, I think I would tell her that of all the different states and the things going on around us, there was an interesting post I saw on Facebook this morning. In the yesterday, there was 120 something, I believe, new cases in New Mexico, and there was over 5,000 new cases in Texas. And before you say, well, yeah, but the population of Texas is so much greater. Yeah, they've got about 5 times the population, but they had 20 times the number of cases yesterday. Something doesn't seem right there. So I think, honestly, New Mexico, if my governor asked me what we should do, I think we maybe should slow down a little bit on the reopening, or we should at least make sure that the people have the protective equipment that they need. It's interesting to know that the N95 masks, which are the ones that are approved for this, aren't available. You can't get them. So we're going around with these cloth masks. And look, I believe, just like with life insurance, anything is better than nothing, right? And so this is better than nothing. Yeah. This isn't what we need to protect our citizens properly. So if it were me, I would say, hey, there should be, when you walk into the stores, when you, if you need a mask, there should be one readily available to you. And it should be compliant with what Dr. Fauci and the CDC says would actually protect us from this. So if you ask what my opinion is, let's get masks into people's hands, and masks that they look cool, and I appreciate you wearing them, but ones that actually work as well.
Wow. You know, I'll never forget, it was like Sunday the 22nd or Sunday the 23rd of February. And I just flown back from Reno. I was speaking at a conference with a great company there, and Select Group, which is, Coal Banker, Century 21, and their own escrow officers and officers, not offers, and their own lending companies and things like that. And it was interesting. It got back, and I was only back for about 2 days, and then I was going to be off to Los Angeles to speak at another conference where there were about 5,000 people. And I had coffee at Starbucks with a very good friend of mine, and he was sharing with me that Kurt, and he showed me pictures of normal masks, surgical masks, and N95s, and the difference is, and like a surgical mask hardly even looks after you. I can't see you, Edward, just for you to know, we cannot see you. Anyway, maybe you're on a call or something. But anyway, so, I'll never forget that conversation. And he said, Kurt, let me tell you, and this guy's a DNA scientist, and he's in biotech, and he understands disease. He understands, really what happens. And he said, no matter what people say, let me tell you this, that the other masks are not going to 100% protect you. He said that to me. And he gave me, now we know we all went all this, and then scientists said, oh, well, you can do this, you can do that. And, their story changed a little bit. But what you're saying, I think so, because, a difference to a sneeze by a flu or sneeze by COVID-19. COVID-19, it's going to, it can get through a lot of other things, and lingers. Anyway, so I just think I'm hoping that we're not going to have a second thing in the United States and around the world, because we definitely seen massive increases now, and things are still opening up more. But I think, we were at a place called Pacific Beach, and I was shocked and amazed that nobody was wearing masks, and people walking around with less than 3 feet away from each other. And I looked at that, and I thought the numbers have got to go up, because people weren't even respecting it. And then you look at the protests. Okay, now I'm not against protests. I'm saying I agree with the protests. My concern was that people were right next to each other all the time. My thing is, look what happened in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Well, okay, 19,000 people did not arrive. There were 6,200 people, according to the fire department. And out of the fire department, that's just the message that they gave. And then we look at Phoenix, Arizona, and people sitting right next to each other without any masks on. And then people say, well, the media is going crazy, and the media it's just media hype. Edward, you're back.
Yes, I'm sorry. I was hearing you, and you were talking about the mask, but go ahead. I'm sorry. I had some technical difficulties.
I thought maybe you got bored and you just said, oh, I'm getting out of here.
Yes, that's not what I did.
Okay. The doctor of insurance. And so I'm just talking about, Pacific Beach, where I was the other day in San Diego, and there were people walking. Most of them didn't have masks on, and they were walking like 3 feet away. and not one or two, a whole lot of people, no one knew each other. And then we look at Tulsa, Oklahoma, where there were 6,200 people going to an event, and the majority of them not wearing masks, sitting close together, blah, blah, blah. And then you look at, Phoenix, Arizona last night. But people, I just see that when science has told us one thing, and then we are not scientists, and maybe the scientists are wrong, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're not wrong. Maybe they do understand this disease better than that. And I think that if you're not wearing a mask in public, going out, you are being irresponsible, and you could be spreading a disease, and you may not know that you have it. And I think that just give the scientists, if you doubt them, just give them a bit of grace. Just assume that they're right. Because I still think that, you see, if you don't do this, it's going to affect our nation and nations all over the world economically, big time. There are going to be more jobs lost. The economies, if money is not circulating and money is not turning around because they've had to close more bars down, more restaurants down, more optometrists down, more hospitals down that are not, focused on those beds, and they can't. There are hospitals closing down right now. You know that, right? There are hospitals closing down right now because they've only got 20 or 30 beds that can take COVID-19 people anyway, and they're not making money from that. It's just interesting. We weren't going to talk about this, but that's, we're talking about it. But what else do you want to say about that?
Well, I think we have to talk about it because that's what is on our minds right now. That's what's all around us. And I honestly believe that we have allowed this virus to be politicized, right? We've made it almost the us versus them. One side, the far left, says this is the worst thing since it's ever happened in life, and the other side say, no, don't worry about it. It's going to go away in a couple of months. Well, guess what? I think it's probably somewhere in the middle. I don't think it's the far left or the far right. I don't think either one of them are right. I think what's right is that there is a problem and that we should be taking care of others. And you're right, Kurt. These masks aren't the perfect masks. But we don't wear masks to protect ourselves. We wear masks to protect others around us. And we should stop looking at it as I'm Superman. I can't get sick. You should look at it as, I don't care if I'm Superman. I don't care if I can't get sick. What I should care about is all the people that I come in contact with. That if I am an asymptomatic carrier, I could forever change not only their lives, but the lives of their family, the lives of their friends, and the lives of those that love them the most. And that's what we should care about. And that's the reason we should wear a mask, not whether or not it works, but whether or not we care about those around us. And I think that's what gets lost sometimes in the politicization of the coronavirus. Exactly.
I think you really said it so well there. Seen a friend's post this week. They were going out to a restaurant, and somebody said, no, the numbers are going crazy in Florida. Don't do that, blah, blah, blah. And, and then he responded, well, it's just media hype. It's just media hype. I mean, he'll probably be watching this, and that's okay. The thing is that, you got one thing, don't go out anyway, blah, 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 blah. And then just media hype, it's media hype. Now, the thing is, it's not media hype. You can tell that to 120,000 people who died, their families. And the thing is that I still think we should be going out. These are my views. I think we can. But be responsible. Be responsible. Stay away from people. Wear your coverings or your masks. Don't sit on top of them. You don't have to have every appointment possible. Try and do it virtually if you can. Go out now and again. I went for a run on Monday night, and running a place called through Balboa Park. And Balboa Park, you may know of. Balboa Park in San Diego is bigger than Central Park, New York. It's massive. But running, there were so many people outside. Some people having picnics and different things. Very interesting. But everybody was in these small little groups, but so far away from each other. And I thought, that is so healthy. They're getting out there in the fresh air, but there's not tons of people all around. When going for a run, other people would walk around me. They could see I was running. they would keep their distance. I think that's what we've got to do. But for us to assume it's media hype and for us not to go anywhere, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm completely in agreement. I think there's got to be a happy medium. There's got to be a place in the middle. To say we shouldn't do anything, I don't think is the right answer. Especially not when, my goodness, did you even in the tightest part, the most constrained part of the self-isolation, did you go into a Lowe's or drive by a Lowe's or a Home Depot and see the little ants of people running around? Like, look, that's just as bad as having a nail salon or a hair salon open. But so when we're justifying and saying, oh, this isn't essential, this is okay for us to be like little ants around each other, no, it needs to be safe for all. So that maintaining social distancing, maybe making a different way of redesigning the way we think about a store, right? I know that Walmart did the little arrows that said you can go this way down this aisle and this way down. Did that do anything? No, really didn't. People didn't observe it, didn't follow it, those kinds of things. But maybe instead of saying, hey, I'm a big superstore chain and I'm trying to get the most people packed into my big store, maybe we should say, hey, what if I took my big store and spread the aisles a little bit and got rid of a couple of aisles and said, hey, I'm not going to carry as many packages, but you know what? People won't get sick when they're in my office. When they're in my location, they won't get sick. And sometimes I think big corporations can't see past the 3 feet in front of them and say, hey, we can do this. We could expand our aisles so people could safely walk down them and be social distanced by just cutting down a few items that we carry. A great example of that is Costco. I don't know if you walked into, I don't know your local Costco did it, but ours did. Over there where the fruits and vegetables are, they actually took down half of a row so they could spread the fruits and vegetables out so people could have that space. And I wish more companies would look at that and say, hey, you know what? That's what we could do to help. We don't have to close down. We don't have to say no customers. Let's just say, hey, let's spread the customers out over time. And instead of saying, let's shorten our hours so that more people have to pack in during that shorter time, how about extend our hours a little bit and let people shop at different times so there aren't as many people around?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's really smart. And our Costco did that. Absolutely, our Costco did exactly that. And it's like so different where the fruits and veggies are. It's so different. And they moved with alcohol laws. They've moved that out. It's all changed right now. Something I was thinking about. I went to the bank the other day. I don't often go into a bank, but I had to go in. And I saw this and at our supermarket, and I've seen this in different supermarkets, not just one. But what people tend to do, they tend to pay with a debit card or their credit card when they go out. So you know where I'm going with this right now. So you put your card in, and then if it's a debit card, that they're going to want your PIN code, and you touch that. The minute you've touched that, you just touched something somebody else has just touched. But there's no hand sanitizer. There's no hand sanitizer there, and I don't think banks, supermarket stores, pharmacies, drugstores, I don't think they are being socially responsible right now because they're not offering hand sanitizer right there. I gassed up. I gassed up, and this is where it hit me. Gassed up in Palm Springs, about a month ago at Costco. And guess what? Every time somebody gasses up, they were wiping everything. But the Costco where I gas up, all the other places, there's no hand sanitizer, there's nobody cleaning it. Now I understand these are extra costs. I understand that. But the disease can be spread, like for anybody gassing up, you can pick up COVID-19 like that, just by gassing up. And you should be, before you touch it, you should, as an individual, not as a company, be spraying your hands. Yeah, it is. Yeah, I bought a whole lot of these. They in all our vehicles. As we get home, in my office, that's the first thing I do. Actually, in our building here, they've got one that smells like tequila. And so whenever I walk in, they say, "Oh, I need a shot of tequila," and they're all laughing at me. And then it's just the most powerful thing I've ever smelled in my life. But I think that we need greater social responsibility. What are your thoughts on that?
No,
Oh, you off there. I can't hear you. Okay, now I can see you. Carry on.
but no, I'm 100% in agreement with you. As a matter of fact, you talk about contactless, or you talk about payments, right? I walked into a store the other day. I'm not going to name the store because I don't want anyone to come after me and say, "Oh, you're bashing my company." But I walked into a grocery store, and they had put styrofoam, or not styrofoam, like a foam, or not foam, a plastic down over the keypad, and it just made me laugh. I'm like, oh great, so the keypad's safe.
Yeah.
Of course, the person that touched it before me and the person that touches it after me aren't safe, but the keypad itself is not going to get infected, which is fantastic, right? That's exactly what we wanted it to do. Yeah. No, your point is right. And here's what's worse. I would say 80% of the Americans in this country, 80%, have the ability to use contactless payment through either Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or Google Pay. Right? Why aren't the stores? Where is Congress? Where's our elected officials saying, hey, we a couple of years ago said you had to change over to a chip card. Where are they saying, hey, now in order to protect other Americans and other people, you should transfer over to contactless payment system. Yes. Where my cell phone, I can just get it close and it charges it.
Yes.
Because then I don't got to touch anything and no one's got to touch anything after me. But we haven't gone down that road, and I don't understand why. Because if you look at it from a cost perspective, having someone wipe down in between every cashier, every register would be cost prohibitive. But spend a little bit of money on technology that's going to last you for the next 20 years. Yeah. Hey, spend the money. Upgrade. It's the better, safer way to pay anyway. And oh, by the way, you won't get coronavirus from touching someone that just touched the keypad you touched.
That's it. Restaurants should be like that, paying for your meals, every single thing. Right?
Absolutely. Why not?
Every single thing.
Why not? The technology's there. Upgrade to it. Olive Garden has the technology. I don't know if you know this. They're little kiosks that they put on the table in front of you. You can put your phone right on it. You don't have to touch. Excellent. So it's not about sometimes reinventing the wheel. Just use the wheel that we already have. Yeah.
Wow. That's a good one. Hope people are listening out there and people will hear some of the things. Maybe you should share this to your congressman or congresswoman or your senator and let them hear. But those are the things that need to happen right now, right? Because the thing is, I probably say this, it's probably the safest time to fly now than ever before. It's probably the safest time to go to a restaurant now than ever before. It probably is. But that doesn't mean that everything's 100% safe either, right? No. So because of all these other things. And so how can we take it to the next level? And I think it should always be like that.
Well, we'd be silly to say that the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, is going to be the last virus that's ever going to right? I mean, there was SARS, there was MERS, there's the Spanish flu of 1918. There have been over the years, there have been different influenzas, different viruses that have attacked us. And it'd be silly to say this is going to be the last one. Yeah. It'd also be silly to say that we're ever going to go back to being as careless as we were before. But you're right. We got to protect ourselves for the future because it's not like this is never going to happen again. There will be another virus. There just will be. What it will be called, I don't know.
And you know what? The thing is, I'll never forget it. Let's call it what it is. I'm not scared to. I used to be at a certain insurance company with Kaiser, and I say to my doctor, "It's ridiculous. I've had flu 3 or 4 times in a row," and this doctor said, "Well, the average person gets flu 6 times a year." And I said, "That's ridiculous." And I said, "Well, have you got kids?" I said, "No." "Well, if you had kids, you would get flu 6 times a year. That's the average." And I said, well, that's not the life that I want to live. And when I moved back from Austin, I got flu 3 times in a row and very, very bad flu in October, November, and December. And I was like, I eventually went to a doctor. And I don't go to a doctor for flu or whatever, but I did. I said, this is ridiculous. And I wonder that if we look, the world has changed right now, and if we keep on being careful, I wonder how many people will get flu in future. I think less people, not just coronavirus, but I think other diseases, washing your hands more often, as we should all do. I think we're going to become healthier people from this. It's not just when Corona's done. I think if we've got to still maintain certain things and live healthier lives.
I do agree with that. I will say that there is a point, though, that I may actually say getting a mild case of the flu isn't the worst thing that could happen to us, because our bodies build the immunity to that again in the future, right? The whole idea behind a vaccination is that we get a dormant version of the virus so that our body learns to build the immunity. So I don't know that we should totally go away from all germs are bad, all viruses are bad. But if we understand some viruses are worse than others and some we need a little bit more protection from, then I think we can make the appropriate decision. I just don't think we should whitewash and say everything is equal. All viruses, all flus, all coronaviruses are the same, because they're not. As a matter of fact, true statement. Forgive my little messy cabinet.
Don't worry about that.
Clorox wipes, right?
Hey.
Clorox wipes. I bought this prior to the outbreak. I don't know if you can see it. But
no, what does it say?
It covers human coronavirus.
Really?
And I bought this before the outbreak. And if you'd like to know why, it's because human coronavirus is not new. It's been around a long time. Most of the time, we don't see it as any different than a normal flu. It's seen as the same thing, and it's treated as the same thing. This specific strain that came from the Wuhan province, it has proven to be more deadly and honestly more easily transferred than other versions of the same flu.
Interesting.
Or the same virus. And I
Interesting.
challenge.
Have you posted that yet on Facebook?
No, it was interesting that I saw that. I don't remember where I saw it. No, somebody told me about it, and I said, no, that's not true. And so I came to my office and I looked and I said, wow, that is absolutely a true statement. And I don't know if you've tried to buy these. Probably not available right now. I have had these before the virus. Isn't that strange?
Wow. I think that's very interesting. I know there's a product in South Africa and I think maybe Europe called Dettol. And Dettol had a similar thing on in South Africa about Corona.
Well, the original coronavirus most commonly comes from northern continent of Africa, like in the Egypt area, and it's typically transferred from camels, where this one actually came, they think, from a bat, but it's the same basic virus, just carried by a different animal to humans.
Interesting. My dad's a very interesting guy, and when I was living in Austin, and if you may not know about Austin, that people go and stand on that bridge and watch all the bats fly off at sunset. Have you heard of that?
Yes.
Well, and it's a tourist thing, and then they're daily. There's thousands of people that go there. I mean, and the bridge is just full of people waiting for the bats just to fly off. And I was telling my dad about this, and my dad said this: don't go there. Have nothing to do with bats. You don't realize the diseases they carry. And he said, let me tell you what's going to happen. There's going to be a disease that's going to spread because of bats. This was 2 years ago. 2 years ago. And he said to me, not 2 years ago, 18 months ago. And he said to me, you don't want to be near bats. Don't go near bats. I tell you now, they carry deadly diseases, and it will spread through people and will kill thousands. This is like, what, Dad? Yeah, from Africa. I'll never forget my father saying to me, 2006, what you're telling me, Kurt, this what it means. There's going to be a massive global recession because what you're telling me about lending in the United States, what lenders were doing, he said this is going to cause a global massive recession. And what happened? And I said, yes, a little African boy, my father, making these statements that we had that in 2008, we know what happened. And now, probably a year before it happens, he said this was going to happen. And he told me, he said, and I spoke to him the other day about it. And it's really interesting. So I think, we've got to really look at the way you do. But you bring it in from camels. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. And it says from bats or whatever. But listen, we haven't even spoken about what we wanted to talk about. And so we'll just have to do this again sometime. The doctor of insurance, Edward Dunn, phenomenal entrepreneur, father, husband, friend, and has raised great sons. And one day maybe we'll be privileged to have his son being interviewed on Anya one day, because his son is something else as well. You must be such a proud dad for both your kids.
I am a very proud dad. I've got a couple of boys that are just wonderful, and I each of them has to find their own way in this world, and very blessed to have them as my kids. So it's very good. I will tell you, I appreciate you having me on. I wasn't really sure about this, but I think it's a really great thing, and I'm a very appreciative person.
Awesome. No, thank you, and I'm very happy to have you in my life. And everybody, let me tell you something now. In the next 6 to 8 weeks, you're going to see the Doctor of Insurance come back on with some exciting stuff that he's launching and releasing. And I'm not going to mention right now, unless he wants to mention it. But we'll bring him back on, and he's going to say things that no one else is saying in this whole nation. But people think it, and that's what's inside him, and he's going to be releasing a lot of interesting stuff. So look forward to that, Edward.
Well, thank you so much, and I really do think people want to hear it. And I said this a little earlier. We were talking, and I've talked about the far extreme left and the far extreme right. And here's the thing: I think most of us are sitting in the middle somewhere, and they're in our voices. The people in the middle, I call us middleists. I think our voice is lost somewhere. I think too often the far left and the far right try to control our thoughts and our beliefs. But what the truth is that most of us sit in the middle. We're not as far left or not as far right as the leaders of the parties are. And I also believe that most people, and I will put me as inclusive, right? Most of us are either right with left-leaning ideas or left with right-leaning ideas. But the idea is most of us sit in that middle, and that's the voices that are lost so often. As a matter of fact, first words of our Constitution, right? We, the people of the United States, we the people have been lost somewhere along the way. Somehow the politicians have said I, and lost the we. That was the foundation of our country. So yes, I will be back on with you. And yes, I will be bringing back the voice to the people that has been lost over the last 250 years.
Wow. We waited 250 years for you to be created and for you to bring some solutions to this great nation.
Thank you again for having me on. I appreciate you, Kurt.
Good to have you, man. Good to love you, my friend.
Take care. Be safe.
Okay.
Awesome. Have a good week.
Have a great day. Have a great day.